It all begins in the quiet town of New Milford, United States, where a little girl named Sarah goes to church with her parents Bonnie and Alex. During the sermon, Sarah listens attentively to Pastor Mac, who speaks about the importance of faith. After the service, the family heads out to watch Danny's soccer game. He is Sarah's older brother. While everyone cheers from the stands, Grandpa Sam gets up to buy something to eat at the concession stand. There, he notices two young men trying to steal. Thanks to his military background, Sam reacts quickly. He confronts them, and although the boys try to attack him, he easily takes them down. After the brief commotion, he lets them go and returns with the snacks as if nothing had happened. The game, however, is not looking good. Danny's team is losing 3-2, and time is running out. Sarah starts to worry, but her grandfather calmly tells her that if she talks so much about God, maybe she should ask him for help. So the little girl clasps her hands and prays for her brother to win, though in her excitement she ends up insulting the opposing team, calling them idiots. Still, the miracle happens. Danny receives a cross and, with a spectacular bicycle kick, ties the game. Everyone celebrates, and the team earns extra time to try for a comeback. But Bronner, Danny's rival, has other plans. During one play, he fakes a foul inside the penalty area. The referee falls for it, gives Danny a yellow card, and calls a penalty. Bronner takes the shot and scores, securing the win for his team. The loss leaves Sarah discouraged. She begins to doubt whether God really heard her prayer. Sam, trying to comfort her, tells her that sometimes God works in mysterious ways and that maybe that loss hides a lesson. After the game, Sam invites everyone to his house. Sarah, Danny, and Cindy, Danny's girlfriend, decide to go fishing at the nearby lake. As they walk, Sarah finds a small dead bird on the ground. Moved, she picks it up in her hands and says a prayer asking for it to come back to life. Danny laughs and tells her that does not make sense, but Cindy tells him to let her pray in peace, and they walk away to fish. Sarah kneels by the lake, carefully holding the bird, and prays again. A few minutes pass, and when Danny and Cindy return to leave, she simply smiles while looking at the water. A gentle breeze sweeps across the place, and suddenly the little bird opens its eyes and flies off over the lake. Danny and Cindy are left in shock, while Sarah insists she saw someone walking on the water and that this very person answered her prayer. Back home, Sarah calls her best friend Mark to tell him what happened. Mark does not believe her, but she insists. It was God, she says, who heard her words and brought the bird back to life. That night, Bonnie comes into Sarah's room to tuck her in, and Sarah confides that she saw God at the lake. She says he spoke to her and that he will soon take her to paradise. Bonnie freezes, terrified by what she hears, but tries not to show it. She tucks Sarah in and stays by her side until she falls asleep. Hours later, Danny wakes his parents in a panic. Sarah is not feeling well. They call Dr. Ben, who examines her and concludes it is just a bad cold. But before leaving, Bonnie mentions that her daughter told her she met God and that he plans to take her soon. The doctor smiles skeptically and says the girl is probably just imagining things. After he leaves, Alex goes into Sarah's room to check on her and finds a drawing on her desk, the lake at Sam's house, with a man emerging from a portal of light. The level of detail leaves him speechless. Bonnie, too, cannot understand how her daughter could have drawn something like that. They decide to let her rest for the day, unaware that the drawing was just the beginning of something much bigger. A few days later, when Sarah feels better, she decides to visit her friend Mark. She tells him she had a rough night because of the fever, but that she feels fine now. During their conversation, Sarah shows Mark a new drawing she made. In it, Mark is playing basketball, completely healed from the spinal injury that left him paralyzed. Mark is speechless, just like Sarah's parents were when they saw her earlier drawing. No one can understand how Sarah creates such realistic illustrations or why they seem to predict the future. As they walk through the neighborhood, 3 boys on bicycles surround them and start teasing them. The situation grows tense, but at that moment Danny and Cindy spot them from a distance. Determined to put an end to it, Danny kicks his soccer ball hard, hitting one of the bullies' bikes and knocking all three of them to the ground. After the incident, Danny takes Sarah and Mark somewhere else to calm down. On their way, they run into Bronner, the same boy who cheated during the soccer match, who was out walking his dog, Navi. Bronner does not miss the chance to mock Danny, laughing about his loss. Cindy tries to keep Danny from reacting and asks him to ignore it, but Bronner keeps provoking him and even makes fun of Mark. Danny loses his patience and starts toward him, but just then a car speeds toward them. Without thinking, Danny pushes Bronner out of the way, saving his life, although Navi is not as lucky and gets hit. Desperate, Bronner runs to his injured dog while Sarah kneels beside them and gently asks Navi to get up. Then, something incredible happens. Navi opens his eyes and stands up as if nothing had happened. Everyone is stunned, especially Bronner, who cannot believe what he has just witnessed. Soon after, Sarah and Mark return to school. Filled with hope, Mark asks if she can help him walk again too. Sarah agrees and says a prayer for his healing, but when nothing happens, she promises to keep praying with stronger faith once she is home. Mark smiles gratefully, though without much hope. The next morning, however, he feels something different in his body. His parents take him to Dr. Ben's office, and to everyone's astonishment, Mark manages to move his toes for the first time. The doctor is baffled. Mark's spinal injury was so severe that such recovery was considered impossible. But as Mark keeps moving his toes, his parents burst into tears. Dr. Ben, still in disbelief, asks to speak privately with Mark's mother, unsure how to explain what he has just seen. At that very moment, Mark walks into the room with his father, completely recovered. The news spreads quickly. A local journalist, who was also one of Dr. Ben's patients, hears about the case and cannot resist investigating. When she learns that a boy with no chance of recovery suddenly began walking overnight, she decides to do a special report. Mark tells her it was thanks to Sarah, who prayed for him just as she did for Bronner's dog. Before long, everyone is talking about the little girl who can perform miracles. Still, Dr. Ben refuses to believe. He visits Sarah with Pastor Mac to learn more about what happened. When they ask, Sarah explains with complete innocence that since the day at the lake, she has been able to speak directly with God, and that every time she prays, he listens and acts to help others. Her words make the doctor uncomfortable. He insists there must be a rational explanation. Before leaving, he warns her parents to keep everything secret, because if the story spreads, Sarah will become the center of media attention across the country. That night, Dr. Ben comes home to find his wife watching the local news, which is, of course, talking about Sarah. He tells her not to pay attention to it, but she says that maybe this is the moment he has been needing to reconnect with God. It is then revealed that years earlier, the couple had tragically lost their son. Ever since, Ben had completely shut himself off from faith, choosing to believe only in what could be explained by reason. Back at Sarah's house, Alex approaches his daughter, who is focused on drawing a new scene. This time, it shows a girl riding a horse. Sarah explains that she has seen this girl in her dreams and feels that she needs help right now. The girl in the drawing is named Teresa, a young woman passionate about horses who is undergoing treatment for cancer. At that moment, Teresa receives a visit from her uncle, Father Alonso, who arrives with a gift and a kind smile to cheer her up. But the situation is not good. The cancer has advanced, and the doctors say that her chances of recovery are very slim. Devastated by the news, Alonso goes to speak with his sister, who is watching the news just as a report about Sarah's supposed miracles comes on. Hearing this, Teresa's mother begs Alonso to take her to meet the girl. She feels it may be her last chance to save Teresa. The next morning, they both arrive at Sarah's house, where a crowd has already gathered outside waiting for a miracle. Alex tries to ask everyone to leave, but Sarah comes out and, upon seeing Teresa, recognizes her immediately as the girl from her dreams. Without hesitation, she walks up to her, takes her hands, and begins to pray. Teresa feels a warm energy rush through her body. Within seconds, her face lights up with indescribable joy. Deep inside, she knows the cancer is gone. But Sarah does not stop there. She approaches another little girl who was born blind, and begins to pray for her as well. Suddenly, Teresa sees a glowing figure standing behind the blind girl, a presence that places a hand on her shoulder. At that moment, the little girl's eyes open, and for the first time in her life, she can see. The crowd gasps in awe. Then Sarah turns to a boy in a wheelchair, reaches out her hand, and gently asks him to stand up. And he does. Step by step, he begins to walk. There is no doubt the miracles are real, but so is the price. Right after helping the children, Sarah becomes dizzy, turns pale, and collapses. Her parents rush to her side and take her urgently to the hospital. Dr. Ben meets them and says they must wait for the test results to understand what is happening. Outside, journalists are already crowding around, trying to get information about the miracle girl to protect her. The doctor helps the family leave through the back door, and they take refuge in Grandpa Sam's house. That night, Bonnie confides in her father. She admits she is scared and feels that Sarah gets weaker every time she performs a miracle. In the middle of their conversation, she receives a call from Dr. Ben with the results, and the news destroys her. Sarah has a malignant brain tumor. Bonnie breaks down in tears, unsure how to go on. The next morning, Dr. Ben and Pastor Mac arrive at Sam's house to speak privately with the parents. Meanwhile, Danny takes his little sister to play in the woods, trying to distract her. But when he is not looking, Sarah runs back to the house and hides near the kitchen, where she overhears the conversation. Inside, the doctor explains that the tumor has grown rapidly and that surgery would be extremely risky. Alex and Bonnie cannot accept the idea of losing their daughter. Then Sarah enters the room, looks at them calmly, and tells them not to worry, that she will soon go to a better place. She hugs her parents and asks them to take her to the lake one last time. Before they can do so, she faints again, and Dr. Ben orders that she be taken to the hospital immediately. On the way, Sarah catches sight of her grandfather and whispers for him to take her to the lake before it is too late. At the hospital, news of her condition spreads quickly. Reporters gather outside, searching for any detail about the miracle girl. Inside, the family tries to stay calm. Danny enters his sister's room carrying a bunch of pencils and sheets of paper so she can draw, but she asks for something else. She wants him to tell her what it feels like to be in love. She says she does not think she will live long enough to discover it herself. Danny does not know what to say, and Cindy, deeply moved, tries to comfort her. Then Sarah asks her to sing her favorite song. Cindy agrees, though she can barely hold back her tears, realizing this might be the last time she hears Sarah sing. A little later, Bonnie and Alex enter the room to check on their daughter. Everything seems calm until Danny receives a message from his grandfather, Sam, asking him to come to his house right away because there is something urgent he needs to discuss. Without asking questions, Danny leaves with Cindy and heads to his grandfather's house. When they arrive, they find several people gathered there. Before Sam explains the reason for the meeting, he gives the floor to Teresa, who recounts what she witnessed the day of the miracle. She says that while Sarah was helping the sick, she saw a radiant presence beside her. She is convinced that God himself was there and that only he can save Sarah from the tumor that is consuming her. After her testimony, Sam reveals his plan. He gathered everyone because he wants to fulfill his granddaughter's last wish, to return to the lake. He firmly believes that if Sarah goes back to the place where she met God, maybe he will reveal himself again and heal her. Nobody hesitates to support him, but Danny points out a big problem. The hospital is full of reporters, and the medical staff would never allow them to take a patient without authorization. Fortunately, Maria, a nurse and family friend, has an access card that can open the security doors. With that, the group devises the plan. That same night, they all head to the hospital. Danny, Maria, and Teresa sneak into the locker rooms to get uniforms, while Sam quietly goes up to Sarah's room and asks to speak with Alex and Bonnie alone. As soon as the parents step out, Danny and Maria, dressed as nurses, prepare Sarah to leave, while Teresa lies in the bed to take her place, wearing a blonde wig to complete the disguise. Meanwhile, Cindy and Mark stage a scene at the reception desk. Cindy pretends to feel sick and then faints right in front of everyone. The nurses rush to help her, leaving the hallway clear. Taking advantage of the distraction, Danny, Maria, and Sarah manage to slip away unseen. Once outside, Mark sends the agreed-upon signal, and Cindy suddenly stands up, fully recovered, leaving everyone confused. Meanwhile, Sam keeps Alex and Bonnie distracted, confessing that he plans to take Sarah to the lake to fulfill her last wish. Horrified, the parents tell him that is insane and rush back to the room, only to find Teresa in the bed. With no other choice, the girl tells them the truth. Sarah is already on her way to the lake. Desperate, the parents rush after them. By then, Danny, Maria, and Sarah are already driving toward the lake. But before they can leave the parking lot, a reporter spots them. Seeing Sarah inside the car, he shouts into his transmitter. The miracle girl is escaping from the hospital. Within seconds, a convoy of reporters begins chasing them down the highway. Danny steps on the gas, trying to lose them, but they pass a police car so quickly that the officers notice and start following them with sirens blaring. Behind them, Sam and Pastor Mac catch up in a pickup truck. The police order them to pull over, but Sam ignores the warnings. He speeds up even more to buy time and let Danny reach the lake first. Finally, Danny's car reaches the lake area, but a fallen tree blocks the path. Danny gets out to see how he can move it when another vehicle approaches. He thinks it is the police, but it is not. The man who steps out is Bronner. He says he came to help, as a way of thanking Sarah for saving his dog's life. Without hesitation, Bronner lifts Sarah into his arms and leads them down an alternate path toward the lake. Moments later, Sam and Pastor Mac arrive, followed by the police, who stop Sam for speeding. But when he explains that he is only trying to fulfill his granddaughter's last wish, the officers recognize her name, the Miracle Girl. Moved by the story, they decide to let him go. Sam thanks them with tears in his eyes and runs toward the lake, determined to find Sarah before it is too late. Meanwhile, Bronner continues carrying Sarah toward the water, with Danny by his side. But before they can reach the shore, a wild wolf blocks their path. The animal growls, ready to attack, and fear grips them all. Until Navi, Bronner's dog, suddenly appears out of nowhere and stands between them. With a fierce bark, he scares the wolf away and saves the group. Thanks to him, Danny and Bronner finally reach the lake and gently lay Sarah down at the water's edge, hoping for a miracle. Just seconds later, Bonnie, Alex, and a group of reporters who have been following the story arrive. The parents rush to their daughter, trying to lift her, but Sarah can barely move. She is pale, weak, and almost out of breath. Bonnie turns on her father, accusing him of endangering Sarah's life by taking her out of the hospital to chase a foolish idea. While they argue, the little girl begins to lose consciousness. Her mother holds her close, terrified that it might already be too late. Then something unexplainable happens. A brilliant light rises from the center of the lake, so bright that everyone is blinded for a moment. It is identical to the portal Sarah once drew in her painting. Within that light appears the figure of an unknown man calling the girl by her name. Suddenly, Sarah's spirit separates from her body and begins to float toward the light. As she approaches, she smiles because she finally recognizes him. It is Jesus, the Son of God. Just as she once told everyone, he invites her to see paradise. Sarah accepts, and together they walk through the portal, which slowly closes behind them. By the lakeside, everyone stands frozen. No one can believe what has just happened. In tears, the family lifts Sarah and takes her back home. Once there, they gather around her still body. Bonnie tries to comfort herself by thinking that her daughter is now in a better place. Dr. Ben arrives to confirm the news. He takes her pulse and sadly shakes his head. There is no response. Danny, however, refuses to accept it. Suddenly, he notices something on the table, another drawing made by his sister. In it, Sarah is shown stepping out of the gates of paradise, returning to the world of the living. That image sparks a flame of hope in Danny's heart. He kneels beside her and begs her to come back. And as if she heard him, Sarah opens her eyes. Her face fills with life, and everyone bursts into tears and shouts of joy. Another miracle has happened. The little girl smiles and tells them she asked God for permission to come back for a little while longer because she still wants to take care of her family before finally going to paradise. Shortly after, Sarah steps into the garden and finds dozens of people from town waiting for her. Many fall to their knees, moved by what they have witnessed, but Sarah gently asks them to stand up. She reminds them that she did not perform the miracles, that she was only a messenger from heaven. With a calm voice, she tells them that her mission is complete, but they must help one another and keep their faith, because God will always be there to heal broken hearts. Days later, Pastor Mac organizes a service to remember everything that has happened. During the ceremony, Sarah understands that something as small as human faith can be powerful enough to move mountains, and to truly believe that miracles exist. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think about this movie.